Alright DMs, what's your favorite monster to run and why? Let us know in the comments below. This only works once or twice in a group, and it works best on a party with strong meta knowledge but no knowledge of the monster. The humble gas spore is a CR 1/2 plant. It has a 0 feet move speed and a 10-foot hover speed. Its stat spread is 5 strength, 1 dex, 3 con, 1 int, 1 whiz, 1 charisma. It has a +0 to its attack roll, which deals 1 poison damage. It has 1 HP, 5 AC. It's ridiculously weak. You might be wondering, what's so fun about them? Well, a gas spore has 2 traits: Death Burst and Eerie Resemblance. Death Burst is self-explanatory. When they die, gas spores pop like balloons. Every creature within 20 feet must make a DC 15 save versus disease. On a failure, they take 3d6 poison damage and are afflicted with a deadly disease, which outright kills them if they're not cured within 1d12 plus con score, not con modifier, important distinction, hours unless removed. After their death, their corpse sprouts more gas spores. The monster's +0 attack roll also causes the disease, but it's only DC 10. So, this monster is deadly if you kill them within 20 feet of you. But that 10-foot hover speed does them no favors, so it's easy to pop them safely, if you know what you're doing. Anyone who doesn't know is now on borrowed time, so now the players have a new challenge to figure out. That's still not the fun part, really, though. The really fun bit is the eerie resemblance. See, a gas spore looks exactly like a beholder. If a player is aware of beholders, what they do, and how strong they are, they think twice about fighting them. What I like to do is put gas spores in a spot where players must deal with them to progress. I know the gas spores likely won't kill them immediately, but the players think they're beholders, so they get terrified of them. Gas spores are also incapable of negotiation, but are attracted to noise. If the players try to speak with them, the gas spores begin to encroach slowly on them. Nothing has terrified a level 3 player of mine more than an ominously approaching beholder, saying nothing, only floating at them menacingly. The best part is that they're tough to ID in game 2. You need to beat a DC 15 nature check to even tell they're really not beholders. All you need to do is make the gas spore approach menacingly, and players who know beholders but not gas spores freak out. Then, next time you put a beholder gas spore down, they need to be extremely careful to weigh their options, because if they try and pop a gas spore from a safe distance and it turns out to be a beholder, haha, congratulations, they've just pissed off a beholder. But if they get too close to the gas spore, they might contract stomach burster disease. I love making my players paranoid. Also fun, inserting a gas spore into a beholder fight, especially if there is more than one beholder. Players think there are 2 beholders, then they attack one, it pops, and surprise, it's like a party balloon except it's filled with deadly spores. It likely accomplishes little, but it's fun to surprise and confound players like that. I took the giant boar stat block, gave them permanent bark skin for 16 AC, and they can use their bonus action to use tree stride with a range of 30 feet. They make a really fun encounter in the forest, especially if they come across the camp at night. Awakened shrubs. Their attacks do next to nothing, and they die if they're sneezed on. But if you're running a game for a level 1 party, nothing says, "Welcome to a fantasy realm," like walking through a nobleman's mansion courtyard and suddenly having to contend with his collection of topiary. Corpse flower. Phenomenal action economy and durable enough that it can effectively function alone. It's the perfect boss monster for level 5 to 6 parties. Or, if you really want to crank up the plant-based nonsense, throw in about 20 tri-flower fronds and a few man-traps to go along with it. Alright, Ivy, calm down. Mephits. They have flight, they explode on death, They have elemental spell abilities, debuffs, and they're low CR, so they can be peppered in to flavor any combat. Demons. I always run them with their summoners variant and allow the summons to summon demons, etc. If the party wins, amazing! If they run, that is expected. Here's a fun one, a homemade monster. It's a hermit crab inside of a lich skull. It's not intelligent or evil or anything, it's just a crab with crab motivations like getting food and avoiding being food. But it'll have something that the party wants. And of course, being a crab, it doesn't want to get caught. I give it a bunch of spells of various power the lich would have had, and if the crab gets distressed, I roll to see what spell is triggered. The skull itself has magical resistance and decent AC and HP. Usually it's only good for one appearance in a campaign though, so I've thought to augment it with a group of smaller hermit crabs inside the skulls of the Lich's army, all found at the site of their final battle where they were ultimately defeated. Revenants. Undead are always fun for adding lore and history. Also, they can command lesser undead minions. With the right backstory, you can make their obsessive revenge kick really fun. Having them seeking revenge against one of the players or an ally, more abilities they can use, and a good chance for players to roleplay some intense conversations. Have them seeking revenge against a common enemy. A good opportunity for some roleplaying to get them on your side, and then go into a later battle with a group of undead allies. Plus, the immunity to turn undead is great! Seeing a paladin stroll confidently into battle and then panic when turned undead is ineffective never ceases to be funny. I have a reoccurring Boneclaw that serves the big bad evil guy, and his ability to just show up in the shadows and wreck shit up before getting defeated again never ceases to be fun for me or the party. It's a fun balance of, how can I still make this battle with this monster interesting? And, oh my god, he just does not give up ever! A Boneclaw Terminator. Chain Devils. Oh, I love these. I love monsters that have mechanics that evoke player character fears or backstory elements. It's a great monster to allow for fun player character exploration while also having engaging combat. Plus, they're easy to reflavor and use in all types of adventures. Highly recommend, underrated creature. 3rd edition Lodestone Marauders. A pair of them if I'm feeling spicy. If I'm feeling murderous, I'll make them with half Cobalt Dragon templates. The Lodestone Marauder is a large-sized creature that can climb and burrow with good speed. It eats metal and meat. It considers fully armored adventurers to be candy-coated cherry cordials. They possess the special ability to push and pull metals in a large area around them, and can attract or knock down adventurers wearing a lot of metal. If you strike one with a metal weapon, you have to make a strength check to get unstuck. Cobalt Dragons are from one of the Dragon magazine articles covering ferrous dragons, and they possess a rather unique breath weapon. A line of invisible energy that causes the bull rush effect on anyone wearing metal in the line. Basically, it's a magnetic blast. Cobalt Dragons are also immune to electric damage. As a large-sized creature, the Lodestone Marauder gets wings and a fly speed by adding the half-dragon template, so it can now burrow, climb, or fly, come from any direction, and knock down or stagger any melee opponents. Used in pairs, these things have TPK'd one of my groups totally by accident. I didn't think that through. They're also very unpredictable in caverns or the Underdark. I don't think the creature was ever reprinted in the later editions, but it was in Monster Manual 4 and 3rd edition. Honestly, dragons. If the map is interesting, it can make for a simple but tactical fight that requires quick thinking from the players. Have the dragon stay in the air, use the terrain that benefits its special movement options, and make sure there's cover that both sides can use to their advantage. Always fun to see players try to knock it out of the sky, get up to it, or beat it in a firefight. My favorite monster I've ever run was a mind flayer, who used a psychic link to taunt the players and tell them how delicious their brains were. As they traveled down the way to fight them, they heard the smacking of lips as he savored their thoughts. I would do it as they argued to remind them to hurry up. Goblins. You don't have to worry too much about tactics and can focus on acting. I love to get up and roleplay goblins making poor combat decisions while screaming a lot. Why did you go over there? Why didn't you tell me to go over there? Vampires and Spawn are super fun. Intelligent predators that can walk on walls and have the very specific goal of biting you in the neck. All the fun limitations and rules around them, giving your players fun opportunities to creatively avoid and defeat them. Super fun. Also, love goblins, particularly the last survivor of any given encounter who inevitably becomes a sniveling coward begging for mercy. As others have pointed out, hags are great, but my absolute favorite are aboleths. Oh god. From a lore perspective, they were literally the gods before the gods. To quote Adventure Time, "Before there was time, before there was anything, there was nothing. And before there was nothing, there were monsters." That's just such a cool concept to me. They're also really interesting from the perspective of running them, given their incredible intelligence and rather unimpressive stat block. Sure, at low levels it's intimidating, but CR 10 is kinda laughable for creatures that ruled the world like gods. Without homebrewing them a better stat block, they're the sort of creature that is purely just roleplay. If an aboleth gets into a fight with a party that's even close to being a fair fight, it's already lost. I just think it can be really fun to have the impact of a monster be almost entirely dependent on the story and its scheming with combat. If it even, since unless they die on the plane of water, they just kinda come back, being little more than a formality. Spawn of Kyuss. One of the most intricate undead at lower levels, and their danger is so real that my players always feel it at the table. Especially since you don't have to tell them how dangerous they are, they get to see firsthand how dangerous they are. Even a high-level party that is not equipped with the right tools, spells, or knowledge will have a hard time dealing with the worms, even if they kill the spawn easily enough. Highly recommend for DMs to try this one if they feel their players are getting too complacent in combat and think they're invincible. Yeah, by the way, we hate this one. A couple of us here at MrRipper have had the unfortunate displeasure of fighting these horrible things. Honestly, bandits and other humans like veterans are a lot of fun. They have more flexible tactics, motivations, intelligence, and can be reasoned with. They're cool. It's true, they open up a lot of roleplay value as well as combat value. You can end the fight just by saying, "Hey, can we knock this shit off?" Devils. I love role-playing creepy, powerful enemies who are nothing but charming and enjoy every moment of making others suffer. Players are in for difficult combats, but also really gratifying moments when they finally slay the evil and stop it. Flumphs. They're adorable! They can be helpful if you don't mistreat them. RP is simple but fun because they're non-verbal but basically a mood ring. Stench spray is a hilarious attack. I once had the party encounter a flumph in a dungeon in a way that I deliberately wanted it to create a misunderstanding. It was hiding inside the skull of a dragon, so the players walked into this pitch-dark room and then see the glowing pink eyes of a dragon. They didn't attack on sight, good for them, so it warned them about some rust monsters. It then tried really hard to, help them fight the rust monsters, but since it wasn't an experienced fighter, and honestly I didn't read the stat block carefully enough to realize it was a cone attack, it caught two of the players in its stench spray. They were mad, but they had gotten so endeared to the flumph that they didn't want to retaliate. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, let us know in the comments below. DMs, what's your favorite monster to run and why? And it would be a huge favor for us if you would join our membership program. You get early access to videos, maybe more down the road, and of course you get to keep our AC running in the summer. And remember, we love every single one of you. Just be nice to yourself, to others, and stay safe out there. Toodaloo.